Who is it?
It is a Pandaren monk.
What you doing here?
I would like to tell you about our Lord and Savior, Giant Island Turtle.
Oh, snap.
I'm Rage.
I'm Sage, and today we're talking about how monks are expanding their economic ventures.
They're everywhere. So in our video today, we're going to be talking about some patch 7.3.5 PTR stuff that was released, and going through a list of allied races, racial abilities. But the big thing I want to start out with is this just cracks me up that there's an article on MMO Champion telling us stuff off patch 7.3.5, and it takes the time to talk about, you know, the unstanced version of the Nighthold has seen some changes on the PTR, becoming more of a small faction hub. Both Alliance and Horde can visit as of now. There are teleport stations that lead to Dalaran and Orgrimmar, usable by Horde as well as your favorite characters from the Suramar campaign, such as Thalyrsra and Theron. Pandaren monks have also arrived to teach the Nightborn the ways of the monk class. And then you go down, and while most of the Blood Totem tribe became corrupted by the Legion, a few who did not have now sought refuge at Thunder Totem. On top of this, Pandaren monks have arrived to teach the High Mountain Tauren the ways of the monk class.
So monks just seem to think like, hey, new people, teach them to be monks.
They're like the Kool-Aid guy that just come bashing through people's walls, and they're like, oh yeah, big smiley brewmaster mug.
Like, everyone's a monk. Everyone. It doesn't matter. You think you're not a monk? No. You're gonna learn to be a monk. You're gonna learn to punch things.
The Church of Punchy. They go everywhere, and it's just, I don't know. It even cracks me up that there's, like, other classes, I guess maybe we'll get full staging grounds in these areas, but look at this stuff. Up on High Mountain. Ooh, Zen meditation.
But you know what? Not a death knight in sight.
Exactly, we can't make more Death Knights out of anybody because that we can't do that. That happened before then, lore purposes. Look at this. These guys are doing karate. Okay, so on to other news. Let's talk about the allied races and racial abilities that are now kind of coming out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of these new racial abilities for our new allied races that are coming out. Because, you know, we're training them to be monks. So they've got to have full abilities for their races as well.
Yeah.
You know, monks everywhere. So let's start off with the Nightborn. And the first two of these racials, one is a quality of life thing. Cantrips conjure up an Eldritch Grimoire, allowing you melee access for 1.5 minutes.
It's nice. It's not game-changing, really, but I'm sure some people will get use out of it.
And then Masquerade, this one confuses me. Shroud yourself in illusion, taking on the appearance of another Nightborn. If you're already a Nightborn, why do you want to look like another Nightborn? I get that it's a throwback to the Suramar questline where we all put on the Masquerade and looked like Nightborn, but how is that beneficial under any circumstance for an already Nightborn person?
Well, you see, they've basically become the spy from TF2.
Oh.
They will invade the enemy team, who won't have Nightborn because that's a Horde-only thing.
I guess.
But, you know, it makes sense if you don't think about it too hard.
Alright, so racial passives.
So, their first one is Ancient History. It'll increase your inscription skill by 15. Not bad. Useful if you want to make a inscription class, but
yeah, I mean, all the other races have this type of things, like Draenei or Jewel Crafters that get a bonus to that.
It's pretty stock stuff.
Arcane Affinity increases magical damage by 1%. That's pretty good for anybody who's going to play a mage on this class, or a warlock, or anything else like that. That's a nice racial passive. Dispel Illusions. Draw upon your arcane sight, piercing illusions, and invisibility within 15 yards. Again, another throwback to the Suramar questline when they're like, an illusion, what are you hiding? And they cast off their AoE. This could come in handy in PvP. I can't see it in PvE, but it's...
No, not necessarily thinking about it.
Okay.
With the new island expeditions, there could be rogue NPCs that you fight, and, you know, with a Nightborn on your side, you might be able to see them approaching.
if you can pop it within the right 15 yards. I'd rather have a Demon Hunter just, boop, see through everything no matter what the distance.
This is passive, so I think just anything within 15 yards, you just see.
Oh. Well, that's crazy then. I didn't read it like that. Yeah, Sage, that's a whole... Yeah, that changes that quite a bit. Okay, so that actually makes that pretty cool. Magical resistance reduces magical damage taken by 1%, so you get a boost, you get a damage reduction. Not bad. And then we've got some of the icons here for some of these. Now, Void Elves get a pretty sweet active racial ability. It's called Spatial Rift. Rip a hole in space and time, reactivate this ability to teleport through the rift, 30-yard range, 1.5-minute cooldown. So you can place this 30 yards away from you, which is a little different than the Monk's Transcendence, where you have to physically go somewhere, then set up your spirit form, and then be able to teleport back. You can aim this out where you want, and then get out, which is really handy. It's a 1.5-minute cooldown. The other half of that is Spatial Rift, rip a hole in space and time, transporting you to target location, and that's the other half of that. This could be huge in PvE and PvP. If you're a monk Void Elf, which they can be as well, because, the monk goes everywhere.
Everyone's a monk. Just, if you think you can't be a monk, you can. Just believe in yourself. But yeah, stacking this with monk, you'll pretty much be able to go anywhere at any time.
Oh yeah, I mean, think about it this way too. You have a forward and back with no cooldown between the two. So you could use Spatial Rift to rip forward in an area that you have there, leave your Transcendence behind, move over there, then Transcendence back. I mean, that's a lot of movement, and pure movement is always good.
Yeah.
Racial passives reduces arcane and shadow damage taken by 1%. Not bad, similar to other racial passives. Entropic Embrace, your abilities have a chance to empower you with the essence of the void. No idea what this means. I'm assuming it's some type of buff or damage increase.
It'll probably be a proc of some kind, no telling what the percentage will be, but chances are while you're questing, you'll get some kind of buff.
Yep. Ethereal Connection reduces the cost of void storage and transmogrification by 50%. Well, not a lot of people use void storage anymore. Some do, but transmogrification costs reduced by 50%. That's a lot of money saved up if you transmogrify a lot.
Yeah, if that's your jam, maybe Void Elves is the class for you.
And then we got Preternatural Calm. Your spell casts are not delayed by taking damage.
That's just all benefit.
Yeah, that's awesome for any type of caster. Then we come down here to the mystery section. Dark Iron Dwarf has the names and the symbols, but no definitions yet. Dungeon Delver. I'm assuming this is the active ability. Maybe you get like a bonus roll thing as a racial passive once. I don't know.
It's hard to say. The names, you could speculate on them, but you never know.
Oh, maybe you get a buff inside of dungeons or raids. That could be it too. Fireblood. Sage and I were both contemplating that this could be like a Thorns effect. Maybe for the Dark Iron Dwarves, when you take damage, you whip out fire damage back in return as a passive.
And it might not even be an all-the-time thing. It might be kind of like the Entropic Embrace, where it could be a proc where you get a buff for, 5 seconds, where in that 5 seconds, any damage you take, you can deal Thorns.
Mm-hmm. Forged in Flames, I'm going to guess that this is a reduces fire damage taken and shadow damage taken maybe, or just fire by 1% like other races have a reduction in certain things.
It would make sense.
Mass Production, I'm feeling like this could be a blacksmithing thing because it just fits with the Dark Iron Dwarf whole, lore point. A Mole Machine? I'm thinking Brewfest. You hop in the little mole machine and it takes you down to Blackrock City. So maybe the Dark Iron Dwarves get some type of racial that allows them, like an additional Hearthstone teleport type thing with the mole machine.
Probably take them to whatever the Dark Iron capital is going to be. Be that either a new section of Blackrock or Ironforge itself, who knows?
Yep, but I feel like they're going to have some type of move around Hearthstone type thing. Then we get to Lightforged Draenei. Racial ability Light's Judgment. Call down a strike of holy energy, dealing 5,150 holy damage to enemies within 5 yards after 3 seconds, 40-yard range, 2.5-minute cooldown. Now, 5,000 damage doesn't sound like a lot for those of us on live, but these racials are put in place with the number crunch coming up for Battle for Azeroth in place. That could be a nice chunk of damage, and it's a pretty long cooldown. So that could be cool.
You never know. We'll have to see how it plays on live.
Yep. Racial ability, Forge of Light. Summons a Forge of Light, enabling blacksmithing. Blacksmithing skill increased by 10. Now, if this allows repairing, just like the mobile blacksmith hammer does in raids right now, that's cool. That's a quality of life thing. Very nice. Racial passive, Demon Bane. Experience gained from killing demons increased by 20%. To which I say, whoop-de-doo in Battle for Azeroth. When you're leveling, though...
Yeah, if you go to, like, Burning Crusades content or Legion content leveling up, it'll be nice, but for the most part, I don't think you're going to get a lot of benefit out of that.
Unless all of a sudden Battle for Azeroth is just covered in demons again. More Felgreen Shudder.
You might see a few remnants of the Legion still around. There'll probably be some demons still, but it's not going to be some... You're not going to notice the 20% all that much, I don't think.
Exactly. This is cool. Final Verdict. When you die, the light avenges you, dealing 1,248 holy damage to enemies within 8 yards and healing allies for 1,486. So hey, guess what? You screwed up a mechanic, you died, you get a little kick right there at the end.
Yeah, deal some damage, heal whoever survived the mechanics that you didn't.
Exactly. Holy Resistance reduces holy damage taken by 1%. Again, I kind of got to go whoop-de-doo on this one. The only things that deal holy damage to us are paladins and maybe Titan avatars and Titan mechanisms and other things like that. It's very rare to take holy damage.
Yeah, it's kind of the least common damage type, I'd say.
Maybe there's going to be a bunch of it. I don't know.
You never know. We'll see.
And then we get to High Mountain Torrent. These guys are tanky. Racial ability Bull Rush. Charges forward for 1 second, knocking enemies down for 1.5 seconds, 2-minute cooldown. So you're going to charge a very short distance in 1 second, but you're going to knock enemies down and stun them. This is kind of like the other Torrent ability, except theirs is a small AoE when they stomp the ground. This pushes you forward into a group. So very similar. I like how it's a throwback to the original Torrent, but a modified version of the Torrent, just like High Mountain Torrent.
And one thing with Bull Rush is, depending on how far you go, it could be used for movement as well. You know, you might be able to use it in PvP for better positioning, or elsewise. We'll have to see how it works.
That's true, too. Pride of Ironhorn, mining skill increased by 15 and allows you to mine faster. Nothing wrong with that. Mountaineer increases versatility by 1%. Always a great stat, especially if you're a tank, and it just seems like these racials just they scream tank to me. Rugged Tenacity reduces damage taken by 330. That's awesome if you're going for a tanky class, or a class that, you know, needs lots of versatility with the Mountaineer one. Waste Not, Want Not. I really like this one. You have a chance to loot additional meat and fish. As somebody who cooks and prepares my own stuff for raids all the time, that's awesome to me.
Yeah, it's more resources. Nothing wrong with that.
And just whenever you loot, just boop, meat and fish. Or maybe you get more meat and fish when you do, you know, do your fishing and you're, billing for food. Then we have the mounts. And so the Tauren mount has horns, just like the Tauren. That's a lot of horns. It's horns on top of horns with hooves on top of hooves.
Lots of antlers.
What? You got the Suramar, tiger cat thing here, and we've all seen those on NPCs running around Suramar. You got the Lightforged Draenei, which yet they have another Elec. This one's got more light beams all over it. And then down here, you
got the Void Chicken.
Void.
I hope you like dark meat.
Oh, gee. Turbo puns. I've always hated Blood Elves mounts. The fact that we now have Alliance Void Elves with Blood Elf Void Chickens. Just,
You know what, though? You know what's always great about the Blood Elves mounts?
What?
If you find a nice yellow one, get the biggest sword you can find, the spikiest blonde hair.
Stop it. You stop that right now. Oh. So on one last note, Sage and I wanted to bring this up. Spoiler! We're going to read you a line from the 7.3.5 artifact weapon ending. A while ago, Sage and I made a video about what we thought was going to happen to our artifact weapons at the end of Legion. It only got like 252 views as of the time of recording this. And it kind of made me sad, because I was like, man, we're totally calling something that I don't think a lot of people are picking up on. And pick up the phone, because we called it.
We totally called it. So let's get into what Magni Bronzebeard has to say about all this.
The end of our artifacts. And we called this. I'm going to put a link for our other video down in the description below, so you can see that whole video if you want. The Sword of Sargeras is poison in the very lifeblood of the world. The only vessels capable of containing that kind of power are the mighty weapons you wield. Raise them up as one. Draw out the corruption from the Dark Titan's blade. Together champions for Azeroth.
So, way back when,
Oh.
we said that we were going to use our artifact weapons to deal with the wound in Azeroth. And guess what? Mr. Magni Bronzebeard, I guess King Magni Bronzebeard, and we even mentioned him.
We did.
Like, he is asking us to basically get rid of our artifact weapons to save Azeroth, like we said. So we called this one.
And I'm gonna gloat. Gloatin', 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 because I'm not right very often.
You know what else we're right about?
What?
The old gods, just you wait.
They're coming back!
So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and check back for new content every day. Well, not every day, but
Most days. And also, share, and thanks so much for all the support. Peace out.
peace.